Pacifiers do not provide any nourishment for the baby. They provide a false sense of security.
Ah, dang it all, it's Kent Hovind. And what's he talking about? Pacifiers? Man, I wouldn't expect this guy to be able to accurately represent a brick in a field, let alone something that's useful in raising a child. I mean, seriously, would you trust this man around your kids? Just look at him. That's the smile of someone who sells sweets from a van. And sweets are terrible for kids. Wait, what did you think I meant?
Okay. Evolutionists have many empty pacifiers they suck on, hoping to find nourishment. They are all empty, folks.
Oh, right, it's an analogy. And Kent knows a lot about things that have anal in them. You know, because he talks a lot of poop. But even with the tiny amount of words said, you have already misunderstood the purpose of a pacifier. No one is feeding babies binkies. That's like not what they're for. They are calming. They are a replacement for sucking on fingers and thumbs. Shocking that you wouldn't know that. Also, evolution is empty. Yeah, I suppose accurate science doesn't really do anything useful. Unlike that creation science you tout. Remind me again, what inventions have been made based solely on the ideas you espouse? Oh right, literally none.
Okay. We're going to one by one pull out the pacifiers that you atheists and evolutionists rely on.
Not to be a big old fedora tipper, but seriously, my dude, if anyone is relying on empty, nutritionless soother for their big feelings, it's Crimsbob's Literal Boys. You guys have a big book of nothing that tells you how to feel and about how right it is, and the second you apply any scrutiny to it, shows itself to be exactly what it is. An old storybook written by people trying to understand the world, that was then edited by gits to try and manipulate people into doing the things that they want. And damn, do you guys ever cry when you think people are trying to take it away from you, even though they aren't. You just think they are because that's what you do to everything you don't agree with, given half the chance. But we aren't like you, Ken. Thank God for that.
Pull them out one by one till you have nothing left and you have to just cry or maybe get a new theory.
As if you have any idea what the word theory means in science. And by pull it out, do you actually mean you say, no, I don't like that, so it's wrong, without ever being able to actually, refute it, because you aren't smart enough to understand any of it. So you lie about it to people who already agree with you in order to make yourself feel smarter than a dead stoat.
Pull to sound alarm. I love that one. The mute button. That's a good name for a pacifier. Shove it in. Yep.
Wait, did this just turn into a review of various dummies? Is this what your audience is into, Ken? Because that's more than a little bit weird. Also, I agree you should get the mute button one, and maybe use it sometimes. Maybe you would be less likely to say something stupid. You know, that thing you do when you speak ever.
I like that one. You got to tape it in there.
That's probably like a ball gag, right? That's genuinely hilarious that on this good Christian channel, you are probably showing someone expressing a kink. Hey man, I'm all for it. Let your freak out. That's very progressive of you, my dude. Aside from the fact that you almost certainly did it entirely by accident.
Tape it in where they can't spit it out. By far, the biggest pacifier evolutionists suck on is time.
Well, if time's a dodie, it's got to be the biggest one ever, because time is demonstrably freaking huge. At least that's what all the evidence and experiments we have done seem to be showing us. But please do tell us, how is that somehow not the case? I'm guessing something because the Bible says so. Am I close?
This one gives them a great but false sense of security. They say, well, given enough time, anything can happen. No, time makes it worse, guys.
I mean, time does make everything worse in general. I mean, look at all these population numbers growing. If we don't do something, there's going to be so many humans, I'm scarcely going to be able to eat them all. But when it comes to various scientific phenomena, especially geological, cosmological and evolutionary things, yeah, they are slow processes. But how on earth is it made worse by time? If anything, that sounds like it would be the opposite of reality.
We covered some of that last week. We'll talk more if you'd like. There is no way you can have billions of years. I'm sorry. Pull out the pacifier.
Now, he makes it sound like there's more to it, but if I were a betting handsomer, I would guess that it is in fact his entire argument. You can't have millions of years. Why? Because I said so. Why do I say so? because if you have that, your thing is even truer, and my thing is obviously nonsense. Well, even more obviously nonsense. So I can't let you have it. Unfortunately, Ken, and I know this will come as a surprise to you, but the world doesn't revolve around you and your opinions. I know, it's rough. I was sad when I found out no one had to do what I say either, but them's the breaks.
This one alone is the most often used to comfort them, makes them scream the loudest when you pull it out.
I swear to Atheismo, if I didn't know any better, I would say he was trying to make this video really, really rude. I mean, first the whips and chain toy, and now people are screaming when he pulls it out. Damn. But no, Ken, no one screams when you try to take time away from them. They just look at you baffled that you think you get to decide reality. It's really weird.
They think, if you ask them, how could an amoeba turn to everything we see today? Oh, given enough time, given billions of years.
No one just says, oh, given enough time. Maybe that's all you take away from it, but people will often show you the evidence we have for those transitions over time. That we have, and all the research that's gone into it. Time is only one factor as to why we believe that the Earth and space and life as we understand it are things that are really, really old. But unsurprisingly, all you manage to take away from the countless times people have corrected you about everything is time. I guess it's because you're so impressed with yourself that you can in fact count up to 60, which to be fair is not bad for a creationist.
I'm sorry, you can't have it. So we talked about that last week. All these silly trees of life all count on billions of years.
Again, trees of life are silly because you decided. Again, you don't get to decide. I mean, seriously, there is so much more than just it's old that goes into the creation of a tree of life. They weren't just made up by idiots, like the Bible. They were actually based on scientific findings and understanding of where various living organisms on Earth came from. We leave the making stuff up to you guys.
700 million years ago. Oh, wow.
Wait, does that work? Does saying something in a dismissive tone make that thing immediately and irrevocably untrue? Well, Kent Hovind is a good person who doesn't owe no one any taxes and treats his family with respect and dignity. You know what? I think he might be onto something.
Over time, it can happen. Yeah, this is the baloney part, okay? It's not true.
You have said that multiple times now, but you haven't even offered anything as simple as a why. Yeah, I know you talk about it in another video, but I would be staggered if that's actually more in depth than you continuing to say, no, you can't have it. It's almost like you don't actually have one of those reasoned and rational rebuttals and can only say, nuh-uh, over and over again.
They make these silly trees of life and claim time is what did it. Time can turn an amoeba to a human. I see.
It's a little bit more complicated than that, Kent. You want to maybe refute the actual scientific claims? And the thing is, it doesn't matter if we can show every step from amoeba to man. Although that's a bit of a disingenuous description, go figure. As we can show that things definitely change from one thing to another again and again. There's simply no way to account for that in G-Man's big book of genocide and lies.
Protozoa turns to a biology teacher quickly, we call that a fairy tale. But if it happens slowly over millions of years, that's now science.
I mean, dirt or dust or whatever into man, literally the thing you believe, and yep, absolutely a fairy tale. I don't know what to tell you. Your inability to fathom deep time in no way makes it not a real thing that happened, only that you are an incredulous fool who has no interest in being accurate and correct, only in appearing to be right to the people close to you, which is, kind of pathetic.
Okay, it's not science, guys. It's a religion.
And religions are bad, right, Kent? Oh, wait. Isn't that what you do? Also, your straw man version of science. Yeah, that isn't science. But it's also not a religion, but mostly because no one believes those things. I mean, seriously, the day you accurately explain the science is the day you have no excuse for not understanding it, and you'll have no way to misrepresent it. But you're never going to do that, because you would require that stuff you will never have. Integrity. I'm pretty sure that's the place they sell those berries.
So none zip zero. These lines on paper connecting them are science. It's faith to happen over millions of years.
Wow, that's some quality content. I mean, didn't you used to have like live stage shows where you actually had some standards? Look at you now. And hey, I'm not saying I'm the chief prince of good content. I know I suck, but the thing about Kent is, he genuinely thinks he doesn't. And he thinks calling things that are backed up by evidence, faith, is even approaching a good point. Christ, that is difficult to pass. You would think someone who was refuting all of the established science that they didn't like, TM, would do a better job of getting their message out, but no. Also, look at you misrepresenting science again. Humans likely didn't evolve from what we understand to be plants of today. That's ridiculous. But they would have had ancestors that share things in common with the plants of today. That's not the same thing.
The human is related to the fern. Yep. Now what we're going to cover tonight, the second biggest pacifier you guys suck on. You claim mutations. They are essential to the religion of evolution.
We don't have to imagine or dream what mutations can do. We can literally prove that they do stuff. With, again, that evidence thing that is conspicuous by its absence in your quote-unquote science. I wonder why you seem to be so thoroughly lacking in good proof that actually backs up your points.
Great but false sense of just security, just dreaming about what mutations can do. Just imagine.
Listen, mate, if you pull anything out of me, I'm going to feel nothing but intense relief. And again, seriously, do you have anything other than I don't like it, so I don't think anyone else should be able to say it for your points? Like, seriously, how does anyone take you seriously enough that this is actually a viable business for you? Because it's not like anyone watches your stuff without the lens of someone else correcting you on all the stupid things you say. So someone, or God forbid someone's, has to be funding this nonsense. On purpose. It's just like completely baffling.
What the mutations can do. I see. Okay. Mutations are the backbone of their religion, and it makes them scream loudly when you pull this one out.
It just occurred to me that that's got to be another kink picture. Is someone trolling Kent? Is there someone who works for him that is just trying to undermine everything he says by making it into sex jokes? Or is he doing it on purpose because of what a smart science guy he is, proving evolution wrong by lying and trying to make everyone else look bad somehow? Who knows?
Get your earplugs. We're going to pull it out tonight.
There is no evidence, and then he's going to read one of the many things we know of as evidence for evolution. I mean, it's a bold strategy. I just don't think it's going to work out the way he does. At least not for anyone watching this who has a goddamn brain, aka no one who's part of his bizarre audience.
There's no evidence from mutations for evolution. Let's see, this textbook says,
yes, roses are still roses. How exactly do you think evolution is supposed to work? Oh dear, there's no God. You think that my grandpappy weren't no monkey / why am there still monkeys are like good arguments against evolution, don't you? Of course you do. I mean, seriously, with plants alone, we have examples of one plant not just becoming something different, but something so different that I'm sure a few people watching right now didn't know that they were related. Cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and a couple of other things that I can't think of off the top of my head all come from a type of wild mustard. They were each selectively bred into things that are unrecognizable as the original plant. Given enough, and yes, I know you don't want to hear it, but given enough time and further selective breeding, they will become unable to pollinate each other, and to the point that they are different species. This is a thing that we know happens. Just because you can't stand to hear it doesn't make it false.
mutations are the original source of variation in populations, shown by the many varieties of roses available. They're still roses, guys. This is line number 18 on my video number 4.
Oh, I am sure your videos are absolutely full of lies, but just not the ones that you want people to think they are. In fact, I would imagine there are more lies in your video than even the ones that you make up as lies, like an infinite regress of lies, until you end up turning into a singularity of absolute falsehoods.
If you get the whole seminar series, $50 for the whole thing.
Ha, so that's how he does it. Well, fair play to the man. No, seriously, it's not even the worst price for this kind of garbage I've seen. I mean, I guess in terms of value, it's all the same. You know, infinitely worthless things being infinitely worthless and all. But at least the outlay is lower than some of the others, so credit where credit is due. Don't buy it for the love of fakeismo.
Let's see, right here. Creation Seminar Series. Number 4, lies in the textbooks. Mutations are not going to help.
Was that a VHS? I mean, I could be wrong. His video is so grainy, but I guess maybe I answered my own question. Do you think he's using some super janky setup with old camcorders? Man, that would be just so goddamn funny.
Evolution is based on 2 faulty assumptions.
Okay, cool. Apparently he's going to hit us with something other than nutter levels of argumentation. We have faulty assumptions. Great, I can't wait to hear them. But if they both end up being really silly, or lies, or really silly lies, I'm afraid I'm going to have to make fun of you while laughing my damn tuchus off.
1, that mutations make something new and better. Never been seen. Secondly, natural selection take over the population.
Ha! Idiot. Well, just to be nice and help him out, I'm going to read those since, you know, bad video is bad. The faulty assumptions are that mutations make something new and better, and that natural selection makes it survive to take over the population. And no, those aren't the assumptions. Those are mischaracterizations of the observations of science. Mutations can make things that are better, a better fit for a niche, and if it does do that, the natural selection part can make the creature better able to survive and spread its genes, making there be more of the creatures with those adaptations. Again, these are not assumptions. These are just what we see. The only people that make assumptions are those who think that their book am infallible. So everyone else must be wrong. You know, people like you.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the